Hi everyone and welcome back to Chess for Charity. In this video, I'm going to show you a super cool puzzle, one that is just up there with the harder ones that I've covered on this channel. So if you want to just sit back and enjoy the ride, feel free to do that. So it's white to move here and win. Just as a note, black's pawns are going down the board, which means they're threatening to promote after these rooks move, of course. And it is white to move, so you have to be careful to not allow those pawns to promote. So think about it for a moment, maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, pause the video, whatever you want to do, see if you can find the winning moves for white. And while you're thinking about that, let me quickly encourage you to subscribe if you have not yet already. Half of the income that I earn on this channel goes directly to charity, so every like, every subscriber, it helps us out so much. We've given almost $1,000 to charity, and I'm really thankful for those of you who have subscribed. So thank you, thank you. Okay, let's get started here. So the first thing that I thought of were these two pieces. Why? Because they can both give check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? That's kind of the first thing I saw. I wasn't looking at any quiet moves. I wasn't seeing anything there. Of course, you could move the king, you could move the rook, but I thought let's go for checks first, right? Checks captures attacks. That's generally the way I look at things. Okay, so if you make a move like queen b6, right, the first check that came to mind, it doesn't seem like much materializes from this. You can just check back and forth, and black has no reason to do anything else, right? You can keep doing this, and it's not going to do anything. You can give a different check if you want, but then we're back in the original position. So if you go here, it just seems like they go back, and from this position, there's nothing good, because if you do this, they take it, right? So you have no good follow-up checks, and importantly, you cannot give check here, because remember, this queen is here, and they'll just take you with check, and mate in 8, by the way. So you quickly rule out this check. Great. Is there anything different with this check? Not really. You go here, they go here. What do? There's not really anything you can do. You want to make a quiet move, maybe one of these, maybe threaten this, maybe that's your idea? Yeah, well remember, this bishop is going to move. In this case, it can move g4. This is double check, which means the king has to move. And what's the move here? Want to take a guess? It's ridiculous. Bishop h6. What is that doing? It's drawing the king out. Why? To bring this rook into the game. I think you get the idea here. It's not going to work for white. Okay, so we rule out the two queen moves immediately, right? Here and here. They seem a little crazy. What about on the other side? Through h4. Well, it's kind of the same idea, just flipped around. So there's some symmetry here. And what does this move give you that the other move did not? Well, not much. So what's white's best move? This square is covered by the bishop, so you don't want to go back. And the same thing here. You check me, I just take, and it's check. So we kind of can quickly dismiss this. And maybe your thought is to sack the rook. I should have mentioned that as well. But there's no reason to do that because, by the way, they can interpose, and this is check. And if they take here, this is a draw. Look at this. This position, oops, king d2. This position is a draw because I'm threatening to take this, check, take. I'm threatening to do lots of stuff. And you're not going to mate me with just your knight and your queen. Surprisingly, this is the best thing that can happen. Just a draw. So I know there are a lot of variations, so feel free to dive into them if you would like. The position will be in the description. Okay, so let's rule out the two queen moves on this side and the one queen move on this side. Now we have a knight. Great. I will tell you the first move is a knight move, so we're getting somewhere. Now the question is it d3 or is it h3? Which one of these squares is right? So see if you can just take a moment if you didn't get that first move and try to assign some reasons for why you think one is right over the other. I think that's an interesting exercise. So let's say you go with, let's just pick one, knight d3. What do they do? Well, remember, they can't take. The pawns are going down the board, in case you keep forgetting, because I kept forgetting. So you maybe saw the fact that if they go to g3, there's going to be a problem here. The problem is that you have checks, and if they go to any of these squares, you can start bringing the knight in. Just to show one variation, knight h3 will lead to knight f4 check, and then depending on where you go, I'll just show the best resistance just to show the puzzle. You can check, take, of course, all this kind of stuff. King g3, and a nice way to end it would be back to where you started, and maybe the nicest line is knight d3. That's kind of cool, right? Well, you don't go to g3, so if you go to g3, you get mated. So what if you go to e3? Well, in this case, it feels like you kind of don't have any moves as white. You can check, but then that just hangs the piece, right? Well, yeah, it does, but there's even a better move, which is at all times you have to be careful of this double check right here, like I mentioned before. So how do you proceed in this position and get out of this double check? So this move, knight d3, though it looks good, after king e3, there's not really a good follow-up. You can play queen b6 check. I just take your knight, right? Nothing wrong with that. You can't take my rook. You can't do anything. I'm threatening to check you and then take your rook. So what are you going to do? So quickly, it seems like we dismiss that. So it's like, okay, what is the difference then? What if I go here? Is that the same result? And the answer is no. This is the first move. So if you got that first move, congratulations. It is not an easy move to find. Now, maybe you saw the one difference, which is that now if you go to e3, this square is covered from the king, which means queen c3 is mate. Bang, bang, bang. Great. But now, because of the symmetry, what if I approach the knight? What is wrong with this? You have to ask yourself, do I have any checks? Do I have any potential attacks, quiet moves? It's important to note that this position, if you put it into an engine, it will think it's a draw for a minute or so, and then eventually, depending on how strong your computer is, it'll find that it's a mate in a few moves. So let's see what you're thinking. So maybe you're thinking here, maybe you're thinking here, and we kind of reevaluate again. Well, if you're thinking about queen g5 check, remember, we are always afraid of this bishop g4 double check. So don't fall for it, because I tell you I did. So maybe queen here, maybe sack the rook. Well, no, the best move here, surprisingly, let me show you one reason why this doesn't work in case you're curious. I can just take the knight, right? Obviously. And this move, despite it looking really good, remember, don't forget about the bishop. Bishop to h5. And there are so many crazy variations. I just want to show you maybe one or two, because I'll make this video 45 minutes if I really wanted to, but I'm not going to do that. So queen f3 is one, threatening here. Best move is queen e6, right? Just crazy things that you can do. Look, doesn't this not look safe at all? This king is walking into a corner. These pawns are both being obstructed by their own rooks. It's nuts. So even something like this, look at this. Rook gf1 is the best move. And what are you threatening? Promotion. Queen g4 is the best move. And if you promote here, it's just crazy. So this would be a draw because of that is going to be stalemate. So just look at how careful you have to be. It's just amazing. Okay, I don't want to bore you with all the variations. I find these variations to be amazing. That's because I love chess. So let's go back to the position I wanted to show. Let me just back up. So in this position, after the queen check, you take the knight. That's what I was saying before, and I was showing the complexities that can stem from there. Okay, and there are many. It's a very complicated game. So after you play king g3, what do? You can't check, because if you do, you're going to hang your knight. And if you don't, it seems like you're going to still hang your knight. The quiet move here, the silent move, is king to g5. What in the world is that about? You might say, can't I just take your knight? Right? What's the wrong with that? Well, sure, you can take my knight, but now you've all of a sudden walked into a mate in 3. Even though this is check, even though this bishop is moving, it's no longer check. I was trying to say. So bishop g4, now you just take this. It's going to be mate. Right? You can pick your favorite mate. This is going to be mate in 2. This will be mate in 1. It's up to you. Mate in 1 feels nicer. So now this king g5 move has gotten you out of all these tricks. So maybe that's the motivation for this move, and perhaps you found it because of that motivation. Okay, so now you just played king g5. What is the best move for black? Well, remember, these pawns are going down the board. So you actually want to get your queen to be in tension with their queen so they can take you and you can promote, and then they can take you and you can promote. So with that motivation, bishop h5 is actually the best move. Kind of a weird move, but that's the best move according to the engine. Now you might say, okay, if I trade here, what's going to happen? Let's just show the variation. Well, you're going to lose because they can take, and then if you're not going to take, but if you did, this would be the result. So you're down some material. So after they play bishop h6, h5, you have to figure out, what could I possibly do? This is the first, I don't know if I want to say the first, this is one of the many stunning moves in this puzzle. Just in this moment, see if you can find the best move here. It is not trivial. There's only one move that wins this game for white. The move is a knight move. You might go, okay, where could I go? I can go here, and go here. Yeah, the move is knight f2. Look at that. It plugs up all of these pieces. The queens can no longer see each other. Right? Do you see the narrative that I'm trying to tell here? The queen released this pressure. The bishop moved and released this queen pressure. And what do? You clog it right back up and say, I don't want to engage because I'm trying to mate your king out in the open here. So if they make a nothing move, for example, queen f4 is mate. Right? That's what you're trying to do. Okay, how do they defend against this f4 mate? Well, pretty resourcefully. They can play bishop to e7. Now, again, what in the world's happening here? They're pinning your queen, so you can't mate them, right? This is a pin, which means this queen is tied down and cannot move. So what do? You have to spend one moment and take this bishop. Here's the big question for you. What piece do you take that bishop with? Super complicated. I love it. This is the complexity of chess that we all love. If you take it with the rook, you're going to lose because queen takes f2 and all of these disjointed things. One move made it disjointed, just like that. And now the best that white has, just to show the engine line, is queen d6 check, king h3, and then what? You're going to have to go here soon. It doesn't even, there's nothing. The best recommendation is for you to take it as take the bishop and then just lose. Mate 9 is being called for here. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So you don't take with the rook. Instead, you take with the queen. Now, when they take with the queen, we'll talk about that variation in just a moment, it's a different story. So the best resistance is they take with the queen. Other lines that are just worth mentioning, if they take the rook with the bishop, you do not take back. Instead, you have queen e3 check, and this is already very scary because you're going to get mated right here. Bang. So just keep it in mind. Other ideas, let's see, bishop f3, maybe to try to protect the king. You just sack it. It's pretty cool. Look at this move. Queen f6 check. Wow. Okay, queen f6 check. King g3. Knight or queen f4 mate. Yep, same mate. Okay. I'm doing too many things. I'm reading and looking at the board at the same time. Okay. So you take with the queen. Great. So like I mentioned, the best resistance is queen takes f2. Let's look at this. This is amazing. What do? You just take the queen because they're not threatening to promote right now. Okay. They take back. What is the mate here? I give you one more kind of pause moment. I'm asking a lot of you, I know. Let me know what you think in this position. Can you find the checkmate in 4? It might not be as hard as it looks because a lot of these pieces are immobile, but let's see. So only one thing does it, and the one mate is queen c5 check. Now, if the king goes backwards, this will be pretty simple because queen f5 and the king is blocked in by their own pieces, and they're going to have to block and take. Great. If the king goes to f3, we'll go here. Well, either way, they're both the same. So both of these squares will result in a mate in 3. So if they go to f3 or g3, you play queen d4. Look at this. Quiet move. What are you threatening? Threatening mate right here. And can they do anything? Not really. They move the bishop, you mate them right here. They move the king, they have to go here. You mate them 1, 2. And that's pretty it. That's pretty much it. So this position, all the way from the beginning, this is a mate in 9. Can you imagine that? That's a tough mate in 9. So there are a lot of lines here. I don't want to go through all of them. I meant to kind of show more, but I know this video goes long. So let me know what you think. Take the time if you want to just dissect the position. There are some positions I looked at. It's ridiculous. I forgot exactly which ones. But you make a knight move, whether this one or that one, and you can sacrifice your queen and then move your rook and then sacrifice the rook and then promote the pawn. It's just such a cool idea. There are so many ideas deep in this position. The puzzle is incredible, and I really recommend messing with it on your own. Like I mentioned in the beginning, the link will be in the description, either the link or the fen itself. But yeah, that is it for now. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.